Ito po ho, mga kababayan ko, ay talagang napakagandang pagkakataon po at naniniwala ho ako na ang mga taga Mindanao ay hindi na ho basta-basta mabubuli. No? At tumatayo na rin ho, marami na rin mga abogado na taga Mindanao, marami na rin mga magagaling na mga abogado na alam nila yung batas at makabayan. Kaya bilib po ako dito kay Atty. Torreon, mga kababayan ko. Pakinggan po natin kung bakit ho sumugod sa Supreme Court ang mga abogadong ito. Narito po ang preskon. Pakinggan po natin.
If you will read Article 11 of Section 3 of the 1987 Constitution, if they base it on Section 5, that if they have the one-third vote of the House of Representatives, please read it in the 1987 Constitution, that in case the verified complaint, so meaning, before you talk about trial in the Senate forthwith, you must see to it that there was proper verification, because the law, Constitution requires in case of verified complaint. So we must determine, therefore, as to whether or not there was proper verification that was conducted in vis-a-vis the impeachment complaint as submitted and filed in the Senate. If you will look, this can already been revealed now. If you will look at the impeachment complaint as filed in the Senate, there was even no proper verification. Who signed it? It was only the Secretary General who subscribed it, who stated among others that this was subscribed before him. Is that the proper verification? And besides, even a mathematical computation, 215 congressmen who did not have any idea at all as to what was the subject matter of the caucus as of 10:15, 10:30, 10:45 a.m. And then by 3:15 in the afternoon, they already accordingly added it as additional reference of business. Okay? So they only have 3 hours within which to look at the complaint, verify all the attachments to the complaint. Even if we counted it, they would only have about 1 minute and 2 seconds, no, to finish it all, if we believe them. Now, can you understand anything in 1 minute and 2 seconds? Ang kapal-kapal ng impeachment complaint. Why? Because an impeachment complaint is not a rote process. It is a process which is sacrosanct. Why? Because this is not merely a numbers game. And as a matter of fact, if you will base it in Gutierrez versus House of Representatives, the Supreme Court was in relation with Francisco versus House of Representatives. The Supreme Court was emphatic in saying that this is a sacrosanct process, that the impeachment process should not be only considered as a numbers game to be used by Congress in order to crucify high public officials. No? And then third, there was violation of due process. Why violation of due process? The Vice President was denied prior notice and hearing prior to the filing of this fourth complaint.
Di na pasagot eh.
She was never informed beforehand that this new complaint is going to be filed against him. It is basic in our 1987 Constitution that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. How much more in an impeachment complaint which would seek a high government official elected by 32,208,417 votes.
Correct.
This is 32 million including our votes, which are going to be discarded, which are going to be marginalized or erased simply because of the unilateral actions of 200 individuals who think that they are above the law. So this is the essence of our petition, and we seek that the Supreme Court would grant us a temporary restraining order restraining the Senate from acting on the impeachment complaint,
Mhm.
and thereafter a preliminary injunction on the ground that doing so would cause grave and irreparable injury upon the people and upon our votes and upon our right as a citizen of this republic, knowing, and as a taxpayer, knowing that as taxpayer, if this impeachment complaint will not be stopped, they would spend millions again just to divert our attention in crucifying the Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines without just cause. So that, in essence, is our complaint.
Na yung ginawa daw ngayong umaga, last-ditch desperate move to prevent the impeachment of VP Sara. Tama ba yung pagkarinig ko, sir? Alam mo kung bakit, tinanong ko sa'yo kung bakit tama yung pagkarinig ko? Akala ko ang tinutukoy mo, yung ginawa nila sa House, na kung tinama nila yung ginawa sa House, sang-ayon sa saligang batas, wala po kami rito. Hindi kami magpa-file
Correct.
ng petition for certiorari and prohibition. Kasi nga, hindi sinunod yung constitution. And that's the reason why we need to question is because we, as registered voters who voted for the Vice President, no, will make our vote inutil. Kasi kung successful yung impeachment na yan, mawawalang silbi yung boto namin. Yun lang po ang masasabi ko doon sa sinasabing desperate. Talagang nakita nyo naman siguro ni Railroad yung proceeding. There was no debate, there was no deliberation. It was just introduced and voted upon. Thank you.
If I may add also, you can characterize the verification process as mass oath-taking probably. No? Why? Because there was simply no time for them to read the complaint because of the thinness of the hour that were given them to even read the complaint. And if you note, the Supreme Court is very clear on this matter that an impeachment is a solemn process, no? Bound by rigid procedural requirements. Why? Because the impeachment process is meant to safeguard, not to subvert our democracy. It is supposedly a weapon of last resort. So if it is a weapon of last resort, it is like a cannon with the biggest, it is like a weapon likened to a last artillery, no? And therefore, if you have to use it, you have to follow the constitutional and procedural safeguards mandated under the 1987 Constitution before you can legally, constitutionally make it happen. In this case, that was not done. We were all in shock simply because of the speed by which the impeachment complaint was filed. There was no proper deliberation. There was no proper discussion. The VP was not even summoned to answer.
Correct.
For the alleged allegations, no? For the allegations that she committed as found in the complaint. So there was no due process at all. So we feel that this should be struck down, and while the case is ongoing, we pray that a status ante quo order or a TRO shall be issued so that our petition can be fully studied by the Supreme Court. Otherwise, if this will not be stopped, imagine 32,208,417 votes as against 215 congressmen who did not have the chance to fully read the complaint, understand it, assess any and all evidences attached to the complaint. So we feel that we have to act, and that is why we filed this petition today.